Hey, I'm Pastor Sampson. I want to welcome you to week 2 of Groupbox. Now, I want to remind you, next week we'll kick off the series Supernatural, and Pastor Rodney will be here teaching us from God's Word as we unpack the sermon from the past week together in our group. Now, this week I want to continue to talk to you about what it means to be a part of this group, this North group, and what our vision is. Growing up, you may have thought of the church as a place that you went to once a week with your family. But the church is so much more than that. In the Bible, the church isn't a place, but a people. It's a living masterpiece of believers connected by the redeeming work of Jesus on the cross. When the church first began in the first century, they were a persecuted minority. They couldn't even meet as a mass group. So they would meet in homes around the city as small groups. Now, in this model, the church grew, this young church grew into the most powerful movement this world has ever known. Kings have come and gone. Kingdoms have come and gone. But the church, man, it continues to dominate. It continues to grow. Now, I want to tell you this. All of us were created to connect. All of us were created to be a part of this wonderful, growing, organic being called the church. We were all created to be a part of something bigger than our individual selves. Now, some of you, maybe you feel like that you have or you have little or no significance. I want to tell you that's not the truth. And you may feel like your life is mundane or ordinary, but when you're a part of the church, you're far from ordinary. You are changing the world by your mere existence. Here at North, we have 3 goals for our small groups. The first is that you love each other. Now, that may seem pretty vague or cliche, but let me tell you, it is the most important thing. Paul writes this to a very dysfunctional Corinthian church. He says, love is patient and kind. Love does not envy or boast. It is not arrogant or rude. It does not insist in its own way. It is not irritable or resentful. It does not rejoice at wrongdoing, but rejoices with the truth. Love bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, and endures all things. To love people in your North group means that you are patient and kind towards each other. It means that you serve one another with humility. It means that you bear all things, believe all things, hope all things, and endure all things with those in this room. You know, when I was in seminary, we had to pass a physical education class to graduate. And to pass the class, you were required to take a 3-mile run test. And however fast you finished the race, it determined your score. Now, I want to tell you, I don't know if anyone else feels like me, but I hate running. I'm not a runner, but I had a roommate who was. My roommate, Emmanuel, was actually born in Sierra Leone. And he came to the United States and actually was recruited out of high school as a track athlete into college. So let's just say he was a natural and I was the opposite. And every day we'd go to the track and we'd run. And I remember the first time that we ran the track, he actually finished in half the time as I did. In fact, I remember seeing him pass me twice on the track while I was just trying to get through my first lap. Now, you may think that, hey, maybe by the end of the semester, I grew to love running. Well, the truth is I maybe grew to tolerate running. But by the end of the semester, you know what? I grew to love running with Emmanuel. Because every time we ran, he would just scream at me with words of encouragement. He'd say, come on, Samson, kick up your feet. You got to run faster. You can go faster. I believe in you. And he would just continue to encourage me. So by the end of the semester, and even though I didn't like running, I loved running with Emmanuel. Now, some of you, that's what your faith is like. Maybe you're not in a great place, but when you're running with people that love Jesus, when you're running with people that are encouraging, when you're running with people that love you, you know what happens? You begin to be able to endure all things. You begin to hope in all things. And that's what happens. So we want you as a group to love each other. The second goal that we have for you as a North group is this, that you laugh with each other. Celebrate your victories together. Have fun together. Enjoy experiences together. In your group box, you have games that you can play as a group. Sometimes there's a temptation to think, well, we don't need games. We need to be holy. We need to, set aside and open up our Bible and get into God's word. And I want to tell you that those things are not exclusive to each other. Laughing and enjoying your time together as a group is key to growing deeper relationships with your group members. You can't grow flowers without dirt. As pretty as they are, to grow flowers, you need fertile dirt to allow the roots to grow deep. Your roots grow deeper when you laugh together, when you enjoy the company of the people in this room. So have fun, plan outings, eat out together, go get coffee together, share jokes, share laughs, play games together, because that is the fertile ground that grows your relationship. The last goal that we have for you is that you do life together. Now, we all have highs, we all have lows. But doing life together means that you share it all. Everything in between your highs and between your lows. Sometimes that means you'll share hospital rooms together. Other times that'll mean that you share graduation ceremonies together. Sometimes that will mean that you share weddings together. And sometimes that means you'll share funerals together. I remember not too long ago I had to do a funeral for a NORTHchurch member. And this was a family whose dad had passed away, and their parents had moved from another state, and they didn't have very much family here in Oklahoma. And so they were uncertain about who would show up to the funeral, but they knew that they wanted to have the funeral service here in Oklahoma, where the family was now living. And I remember going and doing that funeral, and I looked up from the stage as I greeted the audience, and when I looked up, you know what I saw? I saw North Group members. It was their North Group members that were crowding the pews. I mean, they were all over the place. They even brought their family and their friends. And you know what I saw in that room? I saw the true evidence of God's love. That's what it means to do life together. It doesn't matter if it's in your high points, or it doesn't matter if it's in your low points, or it doesn't matter if it's in between any of those. Because when you do life together, you know what happens? You grow together. Now on the screen, you'll have 3 questions that come up. We want you to take time as a group to answer those questions.